Have you ever felt like happiness just doesn't stick? You get a win, feel good for a moment, and then you're right back to tension, overthinking, or guilt. You finally slow down and a part of you starts scanning for what could go wrong. Technically, there's nothing wrong, but you just can't seem to stay happy. Guess what? You are not alone. Almost 1 in 3 people say they feel unhappy, even when their life is fine. And then they feel guilty because they should feel grateful, content, and happy. What's going on is actually not a flaw. It's a sign that something deeper is happening inside of you, in your body, your brain, and your soul. My name is Cindy, and if we haven't met yet, in this video, I'm going to help you understand what's happening beneath the resistance to happiness, why it's not just mental, and how to begin creating space for real, grounded well being without self sabotage or shame. But before we go deeper, be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any of our episodes. Download your free e-guide, Unlocking Inner Wisdom, and join the Empowered Human newsletter. You'll find all the links in the description below. Self-sabotage, we tend to think of as something that's dramatic. It's not. In fact, it doesn't always show up as chaos or conflict most of the time. It looks incredibly reasonable. For example, you overthink a decision, you hold off celebrating, you put off rest, telling yourself that you're going to relax when things finally calm down. That actually looks like you're being cautious, responsible, in control, and reasonable. But here's what's really happening underneath it all. Self-sabotage is your nervous system's way of saying, I don't trust things are safe. And when there is lack of trust, the nervous system, your body, and by default, your brain start to rationalize ways to feel safety. That's the overthinking. That's telling yourself you'll relax when the time is right. In fact, what we're seeing here is a protective pattern that's been running quietly in the background. And it's so quiet that you often do not even know it's there. And here's the most important thing I can tell you. It is not who you are, but it is a pattern you learned. And the good news is, you've heard me say this before, patterns can be unlearned and new patterns can be created. So, what's really going on that causes these patterns? To answer that, we need to look deeper into what's happening inside your nervous system and your soul. Let's start with the brain. Your nervous system's priority is survival, and survival is not measured by happiness. It is measured by what is familiar. If stress has been your baseline, if tension has been your normal, then when things like peace, joy, or happiness show up, your system doesn't relax. It panics because they have not been your baseline. Your amygdala, the part of your brain that's wired to detect threats, is constantly scanning your system. And the moment it finds calm, it says, this doesn't feel safe. This isn't normal. We're not used to this. We've never been here before. That type of feedback is why happiness can sometimes trigger anxiety. I know that's strange, but in fact, when you are waiting for the shoe to drop because things are good, that's the nervous system searching for threat, thinking that the calm, the happiness is the threat, and that can potentially trigger anxiety in many people. And it's not that you want it, it's that your system does not know how to hold happiness. Now, let's talk about your soul. Spiritually, Happiness is not a mood. We often tend to think of happiness as these highs, as a Disney moment. That's not happiness. That's marketing you've been sold. Happiness from a spiritual perspective is coherence, a natural expression of who you are when you're living in alignment with your truth. When you're in that alignment and that truth, you naturally feel good. You're naturally peaceful. You're naturally joyous, and that's happiness. But when your life has been shaped by strife, performance, or survival, when you've been conditioned to feel safe in tension, happiness will feel unfamiliar. And unfamiliar doesn't always feel safe to the body. And your soul, it doesn't pull away from joy, it doesn't pull away from happiness. What it's doing is calling you into it. But your nervous system might be resisting that call. Not because it's wrong, but because it's trying to keep you in the patterns that once kept you safe. And that's where the work is, learning to let the soul lead while gently teaching the body, the nervous system, how to follow. If any of this is sounding familiar, if you've ever caught yourself holding back when things feel good, comment below. I will no longer sabotage my happiness. Now that we understand what's happening underneath, let's talk about how it shows up on the surface. What we're going to do is focus on three of the most common ways we sabotage happiness and how to gently begin to shift each of them. Number one, you postpone your happiness through things such as telling yourself, I'll rest once it's done. I'll feel better after I get through this next thing. And what ends up happening is that there's always something that needs to get done before you give yourself permission to be happy. That end goal then becomes a finish line to work towards that gets further and further away. Next time you hear yourself say, after this one last thing, I will XYZ, pause. Pause for 30 seconds. That pause is the beginning of pattern interruption. When you're in that state of pausing, sit still and start doing some deep breathing. You can, for example, inhale for 4, hold for 2, exhale for 6. That's actually a proven method, but you don't have to do that count. You could just breathe at your own rhythm as long as you're breathing deeply. Your nervous system starts to relax through this breath work, and it tells your vagus nerve, I am no longer in danger. I can allow this moment. In that moment, when you're in that pause state, when your body is relaxed, where your vagus nerve is receiving that relaxation and your whole nervous system is receiving that relaxation, your body no longer feels danger. And that is where you can rewire for happiness. A good way to do that is tell yourself, this moment is enough. I've done enough. I can stop now, not later. What you've done is you interrupted the pattern and created a new one. Number two, we push away happiness. You flinch when things are going well. You're looking for the shoe to drop. You feel ease, but then there's anxiety. You start looking for what could go wrong, for the problem, for the danger. You back away from good news. You don't even allow yourself to receive them because you're so focused on what could go wrong and how to control that so that things don't go wrong. But by default, you start reinforcing that you need to look for danger. As a result, there's a mismatch. There's a mismatch between things going well and you looking for danger. So then your nervous system is confused and thus defaults to what it normally does: scan for danger, live in anxiety. When this happens, try this. Don't push the panic away. Get curious. Start to scan your body. Where is it in your body? And name it. Now, what do I mean by that? For example, When you're stressed out, you might feel it in your shoulders, your lower back, wherever it is that the tension is, name it, and then shake your hands for about 30 seconds. It sounds silly, but there's science behind this. It helps discharge adrenaline and resets your freeze response. Once you've interrupted the pattern of looking for what could go wrong and acknowledging it where it's living in your body, you can say to yourself, it's okay to let happiness stay here. What you're doing is teaching your body that calm does not mean collapse. It means presence, and that's how we sustain happiness. Now, the third most common thing that we do to sabotage happiness is identify with struggle. Struggle becomes an identity for you. I've had to struggle for this, I've had to do that, my life is a struggle, blah, blah, blah. Or you only feel productive when you're pushing, hence that relation to struggle. Or you only feel worthy when you're sacrificing. Again, that's the relation to struggle. But that belief that you have to be in pain, that you have to struggle to prove your identity, it's a lie. It's a big lie dressed up as strength. You are allowed to thrive. You are allowed to receive. You're allowed to lead a beautiful life without bleeding yourself out. Try this each morning. Look at yourself in the mirror. It's actually called mirror work. For 1 minute, say to yourself, I don't have to struggle. And start to choose what your identity is. At first, I'll be pretty straightforward. It's weird. You're looking at yourself in the mirror saying, my identity is love, my identity is peace, my identity is happiness, I'm no longer going to struggle. It sounds strange. It feels strange because it's not a familiar state. The more you do it, the more natural it feels. And this is the best piece of advice I can give you. When you're doing that mirror work, think about something that makes you feel good. Because if you're just saying things without any emotion attached to it, it will do nothing for you. We need to combine feeling, which is teaching your nervous system how you feel with certain thoughts, with certain words that come out of your mouth, to be in coherence, to be in alignment with one another. This is how you start to link ease with identity, not just effort. You do not have to force happiness, but you do have to stop overriding it because it's already trying to reach you. The more you build safety within the body, because it all starts in the body and the nervous system, the more you align your life with your soul, the more your system stops bracing and starts receiving. If this sounds interesting to you, I created a 15-minute reset called From Fog to Fire. It's a meditation that moves you out of emotional noise back to clarity. You'll find the link in the description below. Let's close off this episode with a quick grounding meditation. If this is not your thing, skip to the next section. But if it is and you feel safe, close your eyes. Place one hand over your chest, the other one over your belly. Start taking several deep breaths and feel into your body. Feel it. Scan into it. Are you holding on to tension anywhere? If you are, send the breath there. Continue to breathe slowly. And if there's any remaining tension anywhere else, send the breath there too. What we're doing is releasing dopamine so that your nervous system and body feel calm. That's why we're scanning. That's why we're doing this breath work. Now, in this beautiful, soft, and relaxed state, picture a golden thread moving from the top of your head down into your heart, to your belly, all the way to the soles of your foot. Picture this thread connecting all of you in full alignment, in full coherence, mind, body, and spirit. And say to yourself, I am allowed to receive. I am safe, feeling good, and I am learning to trust and be happy. Stay with that. Let it land. And when you're ready, wiggle your hands and feet and come back. Happiness isn't something you have to chase or prove that you're worthy of. It's something your system learns to hold gently, fully, without fear. And the more safety you build within you, the more capacity you create to actually stay in that good feel state of coherence. This is your invitation to stop abandoning yourself when happiness arrives, when peace arrives, when feeling good about life arrives. Let this week be the week that you stop sabotaging your happiness and you start receiving what's already reaching towards you. Until next time, make it a great day.